Unité 1, niveau 3-4, page 16. Interrogative pronouns. Interrogative pronouns are used to ask for information. Note in the chart that interrogative pronouns are selected based on whether they refer to a person or a thing, and whether the answer, or the pronoun, is a subject, a direct object, or an object of a preposition. So it's all about where they're placed and what role they play in that place. So your two types of words are ki, and the other one is ka. Now, if we look at this one here, if you have a two-part, ki, s, ki, okay, and we break this down, when ki is placed here, it is asking who, all right? And here, when ki is placed here, directly in front of a verb, with no other words in between, then it means that the who that we're asking about is the subject of the verb. In other words, who does something. In this question, it's saying, who waits in the office? Okay? Now, this type of French right here is a little old-fashioned. In modern French, they've shortened it, and instead of saying qui est qui, they've shortened it to qui. Okay? So technically, the old way of doing it is now this way. It's shorter. So unless you're reading literature or very formal works, you probably will not actually hear this asked of you. It will nearly always be qui, who waits in the office. Okay? So this part right here tells you if it's a who, a person, for your answer, or if you think that the answer is going to be a what, or an object. Okay? Now, if we look at this example here, we have an apostrophe. Now, you can never do an apostrophe with an I, okay, for this. So we know that this used to be k, all right? It's never been ki. So basically, the k here is saying what, okay? And it also means that the answer we expect is not a human answer. We expect an object answer. And that this object is doing something. Okay? So here we're saying, what is extraordinary? Okay? What is extraordinary? So, who waits? What is extraordinary? You could say, what makes that noise? And it would be, qu'est-ce qui fait la bruit? Right? What causes this problem? Qu'est-ce qui fait ce problème? Okay? Now, over here, these are words. This means someone. Someone is waiting in the office, and something is extraordinary. Okay? Now, if we look over here, we have a different style here. Okay? Instead of having ki here, now they've changed it to ka over here. So that changes the meaning slightly. I invite someone. And notice that someone now is after the verb, all right, instead of being in front. So if it's in front, it's the subject. And if it's after, it's the object or the direct object. Sometimes it's indirect if there's a preposition here. But in this case, it's subject, verb, direct object. I invite someone. All right? And the non-human, the something, would be in the same place. You watch something, or you look at something. Okay? Now I'm going to look at the long form first. So what we're looking for in this question is a human. It says who. Remember, this first part here says who. So ki is asking who, ka says what. So who, and then here we have a you. So who do you invite? Okay? Now notice we have a ka here because it is a direct object. This person we don't know is a direct object of the verb. How do I know that? Well, I have a subject here. You can never have ka and verb together, okay? There has to be something in between. But that's different with ki. Ki, you can have ki and a verb right after, and there's nothing in between, all right? But ka has to have a subject after it, all right? So either a person's name or a you, he, she, all right? And then the verb, okay? So it's saying, who do you invite? And then the person would answer back with, I invite Sophie. J'invite Sophie. So Sophie would have been that key. All right? Now, if you use esca, it would be written out the long way. Okay? If you use inversion, then the esca is gone. And it would be saying, who do you invite? Okay? And if you use inversion, you don't have to worry if it's ki or ka over here because you're using inversion. So sometimes inversion can be easier. Okay? All right. So what do we do over here? It says, note that in the following pair of questions, the pronouns are introduced by a preposition. So in French, we can't get rid of the preposition. And we can't end a question or a sentence with a preposition either. Okay? So, Michelle thinks about someone. All right? The attendance guy talks about something. All right, if we look in front of calc on someone, we have a preposition. To, of, from, on, over, about. Okay, those are prepositions. So here we have a, and we have de. Those are prepositions, okay? So we have to put them at the beginning, okay? So we're saying who, because calcon is a person, so we're going to say a qui esca Mireille pense. All right, we use ka here because Mireille is the subject, therefore the answer has to be a direct object. Whom is Marie or Mireille thinking about? Now, what is a little odd is in French we don't say de qui if who you're talking about is a direct object, or what you're talking about is a direct object, I should say. So qui then turns to quoi when you have the preposition with que. So you can say a que or de que. That doesn't exist in French. The que has to change to quoi. So a plus que equals a que, a quoi, and de plus que makes de quoi. So of what is the attendance guy talking about? Okay, of what is he talking? All right, so let's try these out. Okay, we have a choice here. We have who, all right. We have what, but what as the subject of the verb. Your next choice is whom, because this is the direct object of the verb. And then we have your basic what, that is the subject, that is an object and that it is a direct object of the verb. All right, what do we have here? We have a T apostrophe. Well, this is a pronoun, so we know this is a direct object pronoun, so we don't have a subject here. All right, remember that TU and I cannot make, only E can do the apostrophe. You can't do apostrophes with you, you can't do apostrophes with I, okay? So the E is gone, so this came from te, it's a direct object pronoun. So we have a something missing here. All right, so inquiète, worries. Something worries you at school. Okay, so usually it's some sort of a problem or other. So we could put a person could worry you. Qui t'inquiète, who worries you? All right, that is a possibility. Or you could put, since we're talking about a what, you could put a qu'est-ce qui here. What worries you at the high school? And I think this is probably the best choice. So what worries you at high school? So qui goes in front because qui is the subject. All right, this is a direct object. It's not a subject, so it's like there's nothing there. Okay. All right, here's number 2. A donné à Myriam une liste de responsabilités. So here we have something or someone gave to Miriam a list of responsibilities. Well, that must be a person, probably her mother, gave her a list of responsibilities. Okay, so we need a who, okay, and this who, it looks like, is the subject of the sentence, okay. So we have a situation of qui est qui, but qui est qui is not given here, so we use a modern way of saying qui est qui, which is qui. So we're going to say qui a donné à Miriam une liste de responsibilities. Who gave her a list? All right, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to have you do the rest of these. All right, here we have Pierre. Something Pierre chooses, Greek or Russian. Okay? So we have to say probably what, because Greek and Russian are not human beings, so it's probably what. So what does Pierre choose, Greek or Russian? All right, since we have a subject here already, the end word has to be a ka, and we know that these are not human, so the beginning word has to be ka. So what has a ka at the beginning and at the end? Well, let's look through here, and it looks like this has a ka at the beginning, and it has a ka at the end. So your question is, qu'est-ce que Pierre choisit, le grec or le russe? What does Pierre choose? He chooses Greek or Russian. Okay, so now you're on your own. You need to try to do these and see if you can come up with the correct answers for class.